Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. 3D is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you who have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment. And for those of you who use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and YouTube, we thank all of you for continuing to support the broadcast and for being committed to stay tuned in every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So we are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live. You can reach us on YouTube at Daily Divine Direction, and we want you to stay connected with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on our internet radio station, WKAPFaith.com. Faith Empowerment, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio, where we play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we could possibly become. So I had a little technical difficulty when we first logged in today, but I think everything is working fine. So I want to thank everyone for being patient and for tuning in. But I'm going to get right into the broadcast today, and as I do that, I just want to say to everyone, we are in the process of completing our promo, or I should say, completing the development of our promo. It will be launched sometime in February, and you will be able to follow along. We're working in conjunction with our internet radio station, so follow along, stay connected. We want everyone to participate, and we will be awarding to one of our listeners and viewers a case of Fiji water, and we're going to be doing that ongoing, so just stay with us. I will continue announcing that continuously throughout the remainder of the year. We're going to launch it in this quarter, and then we will continue throughout the month and every month for the remainder of the year. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are having difficulties in your personal and professional relationships. You said it's very difficult right now for you, both personally and professionally. You're having difficulties in your personal relationships, not just with your significant other, but just your friends and family and your personal significant relationship. But you also said you're having a problem in your professional relationships, dealing with not only clients, but you're having issues with dealing with coworkers and colleagues. And but you said this, how do you know how to get everything back on track? And so here's what I'm going to say. Let's first focus on one thing. And this is not just for you, because So many people struggle with this, having difficulties in their personal and professional relationships. So let me break this down for everyone, because this will benefit a lot of people. When you find that you are having difficulties in your personal and professional environment, see, it's one thing if you have you're having difficulties in your relationships, whether it's marriage or your significant other. Sometimes even family, you might have a difficulty dealing with some members of your family. But you keep it at home and you don't take it to work. Sometimes you have problems in your professional environment, but you don't have problems in your personal environment. And this is for everyone. But when you have a problem in both your personal life and your professional life, there's one common denominator, and I've shared this with many people over the years. When you are the only common denominator in your personal and your professional life, see, you got to remember, your family members most of the time don't know your coworkers and colleagues. They don't have any interaction with them. Most of your colleagues, coworkers and colleagues don't know any of your family members. So if you're having problems with both, the only common denominator is you. You're the common denominator. So what you have to do in order to get it back on track, you're going to have to sit down and find out what's going on with you. See, the problem is for many people is they don't identify that everyone else is not the problem. If you're having problems in every area of your life, there's only one common denominator, there's only one problem. And the problem has to be you. And that's not to make everybody feel bad, that's just to help everyone to understand that you have to examine. The Bible tells us, let a man or woman examine themselves. And what it's saying to us is, if we're having difficulties in every area of our lives, we have to examine who we are. We have to determine what's going on with us, each individually, that is causing problems in the environment that I live and work. And let me tell you how you do that. There's a really simple formula to this and to examining ourselves. So I want to really break this down, because I did a whole series on A to Z. You can't just spend your life getting from point A to point B and then becoming stagnant at point B and then finding fault with everyone and everything else, but never looking at what attitude am I bringing to the environment. So, you gotta check yourself. You gotta examine yourself. You have to say, when we have health issues, we examine our health and then we go to the doctor. So we look at what we're doing wrong and then we decide we're going to do something about it. And sometimes we have to go and see our practitioner. All right. Well, it's the same thing with life. Sometimes our attitude becomes toxic. And it may not be toxic to everyone else, but it's toxic to us. And because it's toxic for us, we then begin to spill it out into the atmosphere in the presence of others. What's your attitude? That's the first thing you have to ask yourself. What attitude am I bringing to my personal environment? What attitude am I bringing to my professional environment? What attitude am I giving my significant other or my spouse? What attitude do I have towards other family members? What attitude do I have when I show up in the office every day? What attitude do I display to my coworkers and colleagues? How is my attitude affecting my altitude, my ability to go to the next level? So you really have to examine your attitude first and foremost. And then secondly, you have to look at your behavior. You know, what's your behavior like towards your significant other or your spouse? What's your behavior like towards your family members? What's your behavior like towards your coworkers and colleagues? Do you have bad body language? You know, that's people don't realize how important body language truly is. You know, your body language is going to have an impact on your environment. You have to look at what's your level of commitment in your personal relationship. What's your level of commitment towards enhancing the quality of your life? What's your level of commitment towards living the best life that you can live without intruding on others? You've got to look at every aspect of you, because you're the only common denominator. So what you take in how about this? What's your level of discipline in your personal environment? What's your level of discipline in your professional environment? Do you have a spirit of excellence in your personal life? Do you have a spirit of excellence in your professional life? All of these things are going to really have an impact on your relationships. And once you've examined yourself, you then have to decide what changes can you make to improve both your personal and your professional environment. Because we can all make some changes. We can all make some changes, and those changes will allow us to go to the next level. We all have to make some changes. But you also have to make some changes if you are going to improve your environment, both personally and professionally. Because truth be told, right now, the only common denominator, once again, is you. So you have to decide what you're going to do differently about you to change the environment, both personally and professionally. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you, let me say that again, the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. And this segment of the broadcast is brought to you also by PorscheAmerica.com. If you're in the market for one of the finest automobiles ever manufactured, one of the finest high-performance automobiles ever manufactured, go to PorscheAmerica.com. You will have the opportunity to virtually build out the type of Porsche you desire to own. And if you're in our area, you can go right to PorscheDelaware.com, ask to speak to Mike Didio, General Manager of PorscheDelaware.com. He will make certain that someone assists you in selecting the Porsche you desire to own. And if you are currently a Porsche owner, one of the finest high-performance automobiles ever manufactured, go to PorscheDelaware.com. If you're in our area, if you're just in need of service, ask to speak to Mike Adams, Service Manager of PorscheDelaware.com. He will make certain that an appointment is scheduled for you and that they pick up your vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner vehicle to you, and return your vehicle to you when your service is completed at PorscheDelaware.com. PorscheAmerica.com, PorscheDelaware.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your parents want you to live life. They want you to live life the way they live life. And you said, however, you want to live your life being more excited about getting out of bed every day and not just living, building towards the future. So let me say this to you. First of all, you have to ask yourself, how's that working for you? You know, it's easy to complain about your parents wanting you to live the way they live. The reason they want you to live the way they live is because they're having a great quality of life. You say you want to be more excited about getting out of bed. Well, how do you know they're not excited? Have you ever asked them, are they excited about getting out of bed every day? Truth be told, you're only excited about getting out of bed 3 days a week. You get out of bed every day that God gives you the breath of life, and you go to work. But you're only excited about 3 days a week. You're excited about the weekends because you're living for the weekends. And you know, it's very interesting to me because I preached a sermon about this once about living for the weekend. Think about this. You go through the week because that's the work you do. That's your career. And that allows you to spend money on the weekend. So you're living those other 4 days to get through the week so that you can get to the weekend. So you're really only excited about 3 days a week. And if you're excited about 3 days a week, that really means that you're only excited about 156 days a year, but there's 365 days in a year. So you're not as excited about life as you think you are. You're only excited about getting to the weekend and having a good time. And your parents are saying to you, but you can't live your life just having a good time. I say to you, how's that working for you? Doing it your way is not working. So maybe you need to try a new way. And the only way you're going to be able to try a new way is to try something that you can use as an example. And you can do what you want because you're an adult. But again, how's that working for you? So you've got to say, one of the things you've got to do is you've got to look at the life of your parents. You don't really look at their life. You only complain about their life. You complain about their life because you think that they're not living life to its fullest. So as a parent, let me share something with you. Let me explain to you. We're always thinking about, as parents, how our children can have a great quality of life. That's always our thought. Any responsible parent, that's always our thought. How can they have a great quality of life? And then we encourage you to have a great quality of life. But first of all, you're really not having a great quality of life if you're still depending on your parents to do things in your life. Parents, at some point when you become an adult, parents are only there for emergency. And emergency isn't, I need you to do something for me so that I can do what I want to do. Emergency means you checked into the hospital. That's an emergency. Emergency means you got injured and had to be rushed to the hospital. God forbid, we don't want that to happen. But if that were to occur, that's what emergencies are there for. But if your parents you're depending on your parents to do things, but then you're complaining about you don't want to live life the way they're living life. The reason they're living life the way they're living life is because they're busy being there for you. So if you really don't want them to live life, that's not really the problem. It's not that you don't want them to live life to be there for you. You just don't want to live their life the way they're living life. And the reality is they're living a great quality of life. They are excited about a new day every day. You're only excited about the weekends. So you're living less than, because remember, 4 days a week, all you are thinking about is, if I go to work every day, I'm going to get paid, and then I can be ready for the weekend. That's all you think about. And that's a problem for a lot of people, particularly who are of the generation behind us that are, we're baby boomers. Our generation is a generation of baby boomers. And the truth of the matter is that we really have to focus on building for the future and a great quality of life. That's what we have to focus on. But because you think you have time, you don't feel like you have to focus on that right now. We all may have been there at some point in time, but we don't need to be there any longer. So the goal is that we should be building for the future. We should be living a great quality of life now and building for the future. You can't do that if you're only waiting for the weekend. That's the reason your parents want you to live a different life. Because they see you only living for the weekend and struggling the other 4 days a week. Even though you don't live with them, you live in your own apartment, I get it. But they see you struggling through life from time to time. Whenever they see you, you're struggling to make it through life. You're struggling with trying to keep up with everything that everyone else is doing. You're struggling because you're not living your own best quality of life. You're trying to live what everyone else is living. And all I can tell you is that's the blind leading the blind, and everyone will end up in a ditch. You can't keep living just for the weekend. That's not a great quality of life. You think it is because you have fun for 3 days and you work. And look, I realize you work 5 days a week. I realize that. You go to work 5 days a week, but that fifth day for you starts the weekend, and you're only looking for what you can do to have fun on the weekends. Your parents are not going to change trying to convince you to live a better quality of life. That's not going to happen. So live your life. But at some point you might want to look at that example and you might want to say, well, my parents are doing everything that they want to do. They're living a good life, a great quality of life. How can I do that? How can I do the same thing and get the same or better results? Because that's really what they hope for you, that you'll even get better results. And you got to remember, the reason they hope you get better results is because for those of us who are baby boomers, nobody had the opportunities that we have today to live the way we're living today. So they couldn't tell us how to live this life. All they could tell us was the basics of how to get to adulthood. And then, some people had it a little better, but at the end of the day, we have to build it for ourselves. We have to build the quality of life we're going to have for ourselves. And then we can really move forward and hopefully experience the fullness of God in all of our lives. Stop living for the weekend. That's a real mantra when you're living just to have a good time on the weekends. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Terrett, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. And if you are not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They have everything a man could possibly need. As a matter of fact, I'm in Charles Tyrwhitt attire today, except for my tie. But if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have stores. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. Home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. So both companies, Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com and The White Company at thewhitecompany.com will both ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are finding it difficult to be concerned about others when you have so much going on in your own life. And you want to know, how can you give others what they need when you do not have enough have the energy to give everything to you that you need. So let me say this. There are ebbs and flows in life. There are periods in our lives when we're able to be more concerned about others. There are, when you don't have so much going on in your own life, there are periods in your life when you can really focus on you. Ebbs and flows. You don't have the energy. Listen, if you don't have the energy to give to others, stop giving others your energy. Hold on to your energy until you're re-energized. Until you're re-energized once again. Hold on to your energy. Don't give your energy to other people. When you have more energy to give, then you can give more energy. But it's okay that you can't be all things to all people. See, you know, we develop habits from our childhood, and then we develop behavior from adulthood, and sometimes we think and believe that because other people have concerns, that we have to be all things to everybody. They have concerns, you're concerned for them. Let me do what I can to help in any way that I possibly can. And there are periods in your life when you can do that effectively and efficiently. But there are also going to be periods in your life when you don't have the energy to give to others. You can't be everything to everyone. And we all have those periods of time. And when you don't have the energy, it's okay. It's okay to say, I don't have enough energy right now to give to anyone else. I've got just enough energy to be the best that I can be at what I have assigned to me by God. Because we all have things that are assigned to us by God. And their concerns are assigned to them also. You can't be everything to everyone. And when you realize that, you'll focus on getting yourself re-energized, and you'll focus on making certain that you have the energy to do what you've been assigned to do. And when you have the flow of energy again, enough energy to flow out of you, it will help someone else also. 3D, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. Remember, this is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water, a taste of paradise at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Have a great day today. I look forward to being in your